Alex Krassyuk putting this post up on Instagram. The post seems to suggest that he and Usyk have split. Alex Krassyuk is Oleksandr Usyk's longtime promoter. So you can see it says, it's been a tremendous journey, 12 years of unbelievable success. Two young dreamers met each other to change the game. Back in 2013, I gave you my word and kept it. At the time, no one believed we were capable of achieving what we set out to do. But by the grace of God, we completed the mission impossible. Milestones we conquered together. September 2016, WBO Cruiserweight Champion. January 2018, WBO and WBC Cruiserweight Champion. July 2018, Undisputed Cruiserweight Champion. September 2021, WBO, WBA, and IBF Heavyweight Champion. May 2024, Undisputed Heavyweight Champion. A dream come true. Thank you for all we've gone through and for the honor to be the lifetime promoter of the Double Undisputed. May the Lord bless you and guide your next steps. Thank God for everything. All right, so he doesn't explicitly say that he and Usyk have gone their separate ways, but it's very much implied in this post. And this is a curious thing, if indeed they have split, because of the timing of it. And it's drawn some very concerned comments from Oleksandr Usyk fans. Now, one comment, which you can see on screen here, has this individual saying, Usyk didn't renew his contract with K2 Promotions. Alex Krassyuk responded by saying, we did have any, I guess he meant to say we didn't both have any, since 2022. And he's got this like smiling emoji. Make of it what you will. Has there really been a split between Usyk and Krassyuk? Is it mind games in response to the attempted mind games from Team Dubois? Or is all not well in Team Usyk? Has Usyk ended up doing something similar to what Gennady Golovkin did in the latter stages of his career when he refused to give Abel Sanchez, his trainer, a percentage moving forward and instead offered him a flat fee? Now, I don't know what the law is in Usyk's country, and Krassyuk comes from the same country with regards to promotional contracts, but certainly in the UK and in the US, promoters get a standard cut. There are instances when a different cut can be negotiated, sometimes a lower fee for a longer contract. But again, Krassyuk is saying that he and Usyk haven't had a contract since 2022. So I guess it's all been on a handshake and a word and all this type of stuff. And that obviously leaves the door open for disagreements. If there's nothing on paper and Krassyuk doesn't like the cut he's getting for the Dubois fight, maybe he can say, look, I'm bouncing. Perhaps we will find out in due course. But things like this tend not to bode well going into a fight when you're splitting up with a promoter or splitting up with a trainer. It shows disarray. It shows a change of energy. But then again, Usyk is such a road warrior. He's been fighting in people's backyards for so many years. He's used to change, you would have thought. But although things are changing around Usyk throughout his career, his team has remained the same, other than his trainer. Early on in his career, he was with James Ali Bashir. Then he was with Lomachenko's dad. Then he was with his amateur coach. And I think he's stayed with his amateur coach since. But Krassyuk and Klimas have been with him for years and years and years, pretty much since the start. And so psychologically, that might be Usyk's comfort zone. He hasn't had a comfort zone in terms of where he fights, but he may have had a comfort zone in terms of his team. And so if Krassyuk has parted ways for whatever reason, will that affect Oleksandr Usyk negatively going into this Daniel Dubois fight? If he goes in there and dispatches of Dubois with minimal issue, then all of this will be forgotten. Perhaps we are all guilty, or many of us guilty, of talking about stuff like this before a fight and then forgetting it ever happened when the guy goes in there and does the business same way. We only tend to remember things like this when the result goes badly. Then we look back and say, you see, there was turmoil in his camp. He split up with his promoter right before. So time will tell. When a fighter reaches the age that Usyk is at, 38, long career, plenty of wear and tear in training camps and fights, going up against the young guy, you can, quote unquote, get old overnight. It happens. So it wouldn't be, to me, like the shock of the century for Daniel Dubois to win. Again, I give him a 40% chance. That's a fairly high possibility. a victory, right? I give him a 40% chance against Usyk. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.